This morning we had children from Clyro Churching Wells Primary School present on their involvement in the school's inquiry. This focused on increasing pupil voice and pupil engagement through communicating and working and collaborating with people from the local community, with parents, with governors, and this had a huge impact on supporting the children and engaging the children in their learning through rich and authentic learning experiences.
Our Welsh Heritage project. It was called Wells on Our Doorstep, and it was all about our local area, Cynefin, and its history. This project was chosen to increase our sense of Cynefin and further develop our knowledge and understanding of our local area, and we got to say into what we explored.
It provides children and young people with the skills and the knowledge to live in an ever-changing digital world. It provides them with creativity, innovation, planning and organising skills as well, and those collaborative skills, working together to really enhance and embrace their learning so they become lifelong learners.
Our teachers wanted us to become more involved in our learning in the hope that our engagement level would be higher to follow that interest. We knew about the Welsh Heritage competition and we wanted to enter, so we helped our teachers to plan. Every class in school took part in the project in different ways.
So developing leaders and practitioners and people within the system to become inquirers, that it just becomes a way of being, it becomes part of school improvement, identifying what we need to work on and why that's important, and carrying out the plan, do and review process and evaluating the impact that that's had for the benefit of our children and young people within our schools. Supporting our schools to develop a culture of inquiry linked to the schools as learning organisations, and helping them to and supporting them to become reflective leaders and reflective practitioners through a self-improving system. So for example, identifying priorities within their schools, within their clusters, within their classroom that are real, that are meaningful for them based on first-hand evidence, and exploring different approaches to trial, to plan, to do review, and to then review that impact to see if it's had a benefit on the children and young people within the school community.
We found the project exciting and everything we did was different, and we got a chance to explore lots of different ways of doing things, completing tasks and learning new skills in a way that we had chosen with our teachers.
We've had a huge project within school all about pupil engagement and trying to get the children really involved in their own learning, and we did that through involving the pupils and the parents as well, and that's had a huge massive impact in the school. You can really see that the children are in charge of their own learning, they're involved, they're really engaged in what they're doing, and also parents are really keen and interested in knowing what their children are doing, which has been amazing. So it just felt right that the children should be the ones that are actually explaining what's been going on with the NPEP project rather than me doing the talking. You know, they're the great ambassadors of, you know, what they've been doing, what they've been learning. Their enthusiasm hopefully shines through, and that's what you want, is that they're keen and eager to learn. And I think this project has really helped them be able to talk about their learning, be involved with their learning, and want to kind of direct their own learning, which has been brilliant.
Throughout the project, everyone has had a chance to develop lots of skills and cover a wide range of curriculum areas.
We did our project with Wales on Our Doorstep, and we wanted the children to be involved in kind of really understanding their Welsh heritage, what makes them Welsh, the local history of the local area. We went to Hay Castle, the children absolutely loved that, finding out about Matilda de Breos. We had a huge massive rock that had appeared on the school field, but again they didn't know where that had come from, and then when they went to the castle they kind of heard the story and it all kind of made sense. And then from that they were involved and said, oh well, you know, we want to learn about, you know, Welsh food, we want to learn about Hay Castle, we want to learn about people and history. From the experience of going to the castle, they really enjoyed the video that was on during the tour in the cellar, but that has no words and it's just music and animation, and so they decided that actually they'd like to write their own commentary. They did their own animation, so there was loads of different skills involved, teamwork, cooperation, digital competency skills as well, and it just went off on a tangent. They then decided that from that They wanted to rewrite the stories. We had authors in and illustrators into school who helped guide the children on how to be an author, how to write a story, how to illustrate a book, how to make it engaging that somebody that was reading or watching would like to see.
We used the stop motion app to record each section of the film and then painstakingly move the characters and objects bit by bit to create smooth, following animations.
This project came along and it started off with the curriculum change. I mean, I've got the order right. But suddenly there was this presentation that Ms. Griffiths did about the whole curriculum change. And it just blew our minds because it basically went, well, here's like a whole bunch of stuff. Let's kind of throw it on the floor and you pick up what you want and we'll go with those. And then we can go off this way and go off this way. And there were parameters, there was a framework, and there was a lot of, to be frank, jargon as parents we were trying to understand. But we got the idea that it was broad, it was deep, it was open to change and flexibility. It was like, wow, okay, amazing, let's see how this goes. And then the next step was then another meeting where a few of us were called in to help with this project. And essentially it was about the point two here, but there were some forms, quite a lot of forms to sort of get our heads around. But essentially it was about bringing out extra themes and ideas on top of the structure of the curriculum that was being said. What else could, as parents, people with a kind of a huge collective set of experiences and contacts, what else could we bring into education? Because the school going, we're open to this. We can bring it in, we'll filter it, we'll put it in the right section. If it's not this term, it might be for next term. We've got all those checks, if you like, but we're open to listening to you. I think that was even more mind-bending as an approach to doing schooling. And you tend to think that at a primary age, things have to be very rigid and very strict, and it must be this and it must be this and very correct. But that's not what we were sort of hoping it's going to be, and sure enough, it's been blowing right open, which in a controlled way, I think is a very, very strong and enriching way to do schooling.
All of us worked really hard throughout the project, and we wanted to share how proud we were of the work, activities and experiences with some people.
And amazing, this stuff you do at school. They do amazing projects. I want to go back to school. They have no idea about the school, they have no idea about really what's going on. So they're feeding off it, they can feel the image of what's going on.
Dyn ni'n cynllunio, dyn ni'n gallu gwella fe, dyn ni'n adewylchu yno fe, a wedyn ar diwedd y blwyddyn, dyn ni'n dod dyn gilydd, a dyn ni'n rhannu beth dyn ni wedi dysgu, a wedyn dyn ni'n dathlu, really, a rhannu arfer gyda athrawon gwahanol. A mae'n just proses rili dda i ni fel athrawon, dyn ni'n datblygu yn proffesiynol, a mae'n cyfle i ni gwella yr hyn sy'n digwydd ar lawr y dosbarth, really, fel bod plant ni yn elwa yn ein ysgolion ni.
We thought it would be great to show each other what we'd been doing, as each class might not have known what each other were doing. We set up a showcase afternoon in which we laid out all our work and had time to review everyone in the school's work.
Nes ti weld y plant yna yn mynd lan i siarad am eu profiadau nhw, pa fath o bethau yn nhw'n wneud tu fas i'r dosbarth, yn nhw'n mynd i o'n i'n dysgu sut i defnyddio cyfryngau a bwyd ag ati a hanes.
Ymholiadau gwahanol yn ysgolion. Yn wedi gyda'r Cwricwlwm i Gymru, dyn ni'n gweld mwy nawr o ran mae pobl yn gallu neud siŵr bod disgyblion yn cael profiad o'r 4 diben. Trio cysylltu mwy yn y cymuned, felly dyn ni'n trio tynnu mewn busnesau, dyn ni'n trio rhoi mwy o profiadau iddyn nhw, fel bod nhw'n ymweld y beth sydd gyda nhw'n lleol, a wedyn trio cysylltu mwy eang wedyn ar draws y byd, mwy o profiadau hands-on. A dyna rhywbeth dwi wedi bod yn gwneud eleni mewn nosbarthu o ran gwyddoniaeth a sut dyn ni'n gallu ysbrydoli plant o ran defnyddio offerynnau a bod e'n llai ffurfiol.
Working with lots of different experts and people made our project better because we saw how other people explore different types of Welsh heritage. We were able to gain lots of new information from these different people, as they all had a different understanding of Hay and the villages around it.
Mae'n mor bwysig o ran y disgyblion sydd yn ni nawr, felly mae rhaid ni ystyried bod plant yn dysgu yn ffyrddau gwahanol. Mae rhai plant yn dysgu o'r ffyrdd, mae rhaid nhw gweld e, mae rhaid nhw ymarfer darpariaeth. Mae jyst yn rhywbeth, dwi'n cofio pan o'n i'n ifanc, ti'n gadael y dosbarth, a mae yna rhywbeth sy'n yn eich atgof chi, chi'n cofio amdano fe. Chi'n trafod y pobl, rannu arfer rhwng proffesiynau ar draws y cluster, Hefyd o fewn partneriaeth ni yn Powys. Fel bod ni fel athrawon, o dynnu'r cyfle i gwella y ddysgeg ni a gwella y cyfle mae plant yn cael yn y dosbarth.
The long-term goal is to have all of our schools being inquirers, to be an inquiry school linked to the schools as learning organisations models, and also carrying out cluster inquiries where we have schools within the cluster carrying out similar inquiries so they can share practice, they can share pedagogy, and they can work together to support the learners within their schools.